Alright. This video wasn't supposed to be, well, this video. This video was supposed to be something else. This video was supposed to be entirely different energy, a different kind of vibe. But unfortunately, I really only got one thing to say. A lot of you people are making being a Spider-Man fan embarrassing. Now let me just preface by saying this. When it comes to Spider-Man, I love Spider-Man. One of my favorite heroes of all time. Probably one of my favorite sources of fiction to consume of all time. Some might even say I might even like Spider-Man more than Dragon Ball. I don't even know if I like Spider-Man more than Dragon Ball. I don't even know if I like Dragon Ball more than Spider-Man. But the fact of the matter is, I love Spider-Man. Anything you can give me. Comic books, video games, movies, cartoons, any form of live action you can give me. You know, except for Spider-Man Lotus. We don't have to talk about Spider-Man Lotus. But this has got to be genuinely, this is like the most genuine that I'm being right now. Jokes aside, Spider-Man has got to be one of the greatest superheroes, in my opinion, of all time. That he embodies what being a hero is supposed to be. He embodies everything you can think of when you think of a superhero. He's got the attitude. He's got the costume. He's got the support of the people. He's got the trust of the people. More important, he's got the action. He's got the skills. He's got the power. He's got all of it. He's had his soft moments. He's had his hardcore moments. His angry moments. Moments where he's went off the deep end. Moments where he has been so down in a rut that you feel like he can't return from it. He's had moments where he's literally been inside of a grave and crawled out of it. Spider-Man has got to be the single most iconic thing that I can think of personally when it comes to the superhero genre. Now, aside from that, I've been seeing a lot of bullshit lately going around about certain toxic fans of Spider-Man that are, you know, it can be understandable at times that they're upset that Spider-Man didn't win Game of the Year. Oh well. Okay? Sad. It's true. Okay? It's sad for my nostalgic side. Okay? It's sad for my nostalgic side. Now in the background you're gonna be seeing just me playing after taking a bit of a break from playing it. So obviously I'm gonna be a little bit rusty, but as the game goes on, obviously it's gonna get better. But literally, you guys are just taking it too far. Your anger has gotten to a point where it's not even understandable anymore. It's gotten to a point where it's getting embarrassing to even want to be associated with some of you that I see on, whether it be YouTube or Twitter, just on social media in general. Now I'm not saying this is just everybody. I'm just saying that this is kind of getting worse backlash than when Genshin Impact first got nominated for even having a reward. And it's funny because at that point people were just like, oh damn, understandable. Genshin Impact's gonna be one of the games that can be chosen. I mean, shit, wasn't expecting this game to get this far. Same thing with Sonic. People love Sonic, and when they saw that it was up there, people literally were having a war between whether or not they wanted to get Sonic or Genshin up there. It was crazy. It was fair play. But with this, for some reason, it feels different. For some reason, the amount of negativity that's stemming from this for Baldur's Gate 3 and the whole Spider-Man thing. And now I'm not saying this is everywhere. I'm not saying this is all over the place. I'm saying from what I see from the people that maybe I either follow or just so happen to be following people that I follow, so I'll just end up seeing their posts from time to time. Essentially, I'm seeing a lot of bullshittery, and I'm seeing a lot of unwarranted hate and toxicity. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It's the only word that can come to mind is a little bit embarrassing. Let me preface this by actually talking about Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2 is a great game. I love Spider-Man 2. It's outstanding. The gameplay is fun. The story is great. The combat is amazing. The whole way that they've handled a lot of the villains is really cool. Love what they did with Lizard. Love what they did with Spiral. Love what they did with Scream. Love what they did with Venom. I love the Null Rings reference. I love all of it. Seeing that take on Cassidy for being Carnage at the end there, amazing. Seeing Cindy Moon appear at the end of the game, by the way, major spoilers, I do apologize, I'll put it in the title. It's incredible. I love swinging around the city faster than we ever have before. Being able to switch between Peter and Miles on the fly is one of my favorite things to do. I love Miles Morales. Miles Morales is genuinely Spider-Man. When I was younger, I didn't want to accept Miles Morales because why would I? When I was a little kid, I only cared about Peter Parker. He was the only Spider-Man that I liked, aside from, you know, some others that was, i.e. Ben Reilly, Kane, and some of the other Spider-Men. But to be fair, those were clones of Peter. That was one of the main reasons that I even liked them in the first place. And as I got a little bit older, that's when I really started to appreciate all of the Spider people that appears within the entirety of the Spider-Verse. How else can I put this? It is phenomenal that there are so many people that can recognize Stan Lee's dream of anyone can wear the mask. I'm glad that we've moved past the point where people are starting to lose their marbles because there's somebody else that's wearing the mask. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. You Spider-Man fans just need to relax, all right? I understand that you're a little bit upset, but you also gotta understand that you have to separate fiction from reality too. Let's be real here. Is Spider-Man 2 really a game of the year worthy sort of game? And let's think about this objectively, okay? Let's remove the nostalgia aspect of it. Let's remove the fact that everybody just is absolutely in love with the character that is associated with the piece of media, like I am. Is Spider-Man 2 actually a good game of the year contender? On paper, sure. And this isn't about the whole LGBT stuff. This isn't about, you know, things pertaining to irrelevant drama that people should really stop talking about because it doesn't matter. The gameplay. Gameplay is good. The missions that you can go on is great. Kind of upset that I'm sure they will, but when I played, they haven't yet given you the option to actually replay certain story missions. I'm a little bit disappointed they didn't add a trophy for Ultimate Mode, which I'm sure they're going to add eventually. The references to the movies and the games are outstanding. Swapping between main characters while also retaining the cohesiveness and coherentness of the story is great. But it's not perfect. It's not amazing. It's not, I know it's going to sound like I'm trying to make puns here, but it's not spectacular. I think Spider-Man 2 is more than a good game. I think Spider-Man 2 is a great game, but I don't think that it is the game of the year. Because after a while, after a bit, how much more of this can you really do? It doesn't matter whether you take your time and spend 1,000 hours just to complete the game on amazing mode, or if you decided to start the game on ultimate right off the bat and beat it in under 24 hours as soon as it released. After a while, you're just going to start to realize that there isn't a lot you can really just sit down and say, oh man, Can't wait to stop my 500th car crash. Can't wait until I go and save the 50,000th person from dropping from the building. Oh, can't wait to restart the game so that I can once again collect all of the spider bots everywhere and take all of the pictures and find all of Sandman's memories. It gives you a set of objectives to do that is repeatable, and it just is comprised of missions and Easter egg hunts. Does that sound like a game that you can really play forever? Well, not forever. Say every day for months at a time. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that'll be like, oh, Rega, of course I can play a game that requires me to repeat these same exact objectives over and over and over again all the time, every single day. Look at the game that you play. You play Genshin Impact. For one, Genshin Impact is definitely not a game of the year. A Genshin Impact is not a perfect game. It's just a good game, in my opinion. Just like with other Ubisoft games, for example. Same criteria as what Insomniac has made here. They're good games. They're not perfect games, but they're good games. Now, by no means is Baldur's Gate 3 a perfect game, but it damn sure is close to it. I've heard comments of people saying, oh, Baldur's Gate 3 is just an over-glorified board game. To which I just kind of ignore those comments because I already know that those comments are coming from people that haven't genuinely played the game, that haven't actually given it a try. So, no real reason for me to really entertain the whole idea that Baldur's Gate 3 is an over-glorified board game. I mean, because I'm going to be real with you. Honestly, if you really want to get technical and think about it, sure, I guess you could say it's a quote-quote over-glorified board game that gives you free range to handle missions in almost infinite amounts of ways and take on the story in any way that you want, while also changing the narrative to whatever it is that you want, while also playing a unique way. Do you see what I'm getting at here? That's the difference between this game and Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 provides so much more than what Spider-Man 2 can provide. I know that I can't allow my nostalgia or my intense love for a specific thing cloud my judgment when something else is just genuinely and objectively better. Because remember, the Game of the Year awards isn't about what's the most loved only. It's also about the things involved in that content, in what you're consuming, that is also loved or praised. It's gameplay, it's details, it's world building, it's characters, it's community reactions. You shouldn't be shocked that a game like Baldur's Gate 3 won. Nobody should. Most people, aside from some of the people I've seen in the Spider-Man community, are genuinely just like, oh yeah, that makes sense that BG3 won. It was obvious that it was gonna win. But yeah, let me just end it off by saying this for the Spider-Man portion. We love Spider-Man. It's great. The game is great. It's just not up there. I can name multiple other games that I've played in the past that I still personally think is better than Spider-Man 2. I mean, take for instance, I'm not gonna lie to you, and you're probably gonna think I'm crazy, but I genuinely, if I boot up my PlayStation 2 right now and turn on those old Spider-Man games that I used to play back when I was younger, like the Ultimate Spider-Man game or the Spider-Man games that were based around the Tobey Maguire movies, I'm not gonna lie, there's a possibility that I might have more fun playing that. And that's gonna sound crazy. That's when you'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna bring back what you said before, Riga. You're just letting nostalgia carry you. But am I though? genuinely, how much different would you say Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2 were from those games? Genuinely. Sure, this has a little bit more mechanics to do. It's more lively, you could say, more mechanics involved. How much different is the PlayStation 2 Spider-Man game's formula compared to the formula in this game? I'll just leave you with that. That's all I'm gonna say.
The Night Mother's mercy upon her enemies. Shroud yourself in blackest night. Trust your secrets to the night.
Almost there. I will not fail you, my lady.
The final threshold. You made it, Shadowheart. Just as I knew you would. Now all you must do is step forwards, and the rest will prove simple. Take my spear, step forward, and strike down the Saloonite who awaits beyond. You will become a dark justiciar, blessed with my power. You will become my voice to those who embrace me. And you will be my sword arm against those that would do me harm. When you strike this blow, a cleansing of my church will be unleashed, with you as my instrument. You deserve this, Shadowheart. Above all others, I wish all my followers had your spirit. Now onwards. Warm my blade with the Saloonite's blood.
Now, do I really need to say it? Do I really need to fully explain why this game seems almost completely perfect to me? Now, let me be clear. I hate turn-based games with a burning passion. The only two turn-based games that I genuinely enjoy is Baldur's Gate 3 and Honkai Star Rail. And I haven't played Honkai Star Rail in what feels like a few months. Maybe 2 months. Maybe a month and a half, to be honest. Because the last time I played is whenever I just sign in to get the sign-in rewards, because the game hasn't kept my interest, because, I mean, how could it keep my interest story-wise or anything else like that for long periods when I have to wait for further updates for the game to be better, narrative-wise? But this game, Baldur's Gate 3, ended up actually trumping my hate for its turn-based gameplay. I despise turn-based gameplay. I thought it to be the most slow, the most agonizing, the most annoying, the most just, why? When I was younger, I used to genuinely get mad at games that would be turn-based. I hated it so much. I wish I could just run around in those games and just attack in any way that I possibly can. And for a lot of people, making a game turn-based is a huge deal breaker. It was a deal breaker for me. It still kind of is a deal breaker for me because I don't like turn-based games. However, this game has a mixture of things and mechanics that make the turn-based gameplay for me bearable. It makes the turn-based gameplay just feel completely and utterly satisfying, outstanding, smooth, reliable, impactful. But it's more than just that. Something that some of my friends that know me know very well. And also, by the way, shout out to one of my friends. He actually bought me this game, which has now become one of my greatest obsessions ever. So shout out to him. He knows who he is, and I love him for it, even more so than what I already do. But anyways, this game gives me a lot of vibes from a lot of different games, and a game that people know that I love so much. is the Mass Effect series. I have gone through the barren wastelands of every single planet trying to 100% Mass Effect 1, only to do it all over again when they remastered it. Having fighting the collectors as one of the most brutal enemies you could fight in the Mass Effect series, fighting the collectors was so satisfying, fun, terrifying even for little kid me. And remembering the Reapers descending down in Mass Effect 3 as all hope for not only just humanity, but the Asaris, the Quarians, the Krogans, the Turians, all of them. Knowing that hope was just a fantasy concept in the beginning of Mass Effect 3, only to come out as the victor of it all against this species, this ancient race that is run by ancient technology and ancient AI that is subjugating people's minds, turning loved ones against each other, mind controlling people, and turning them into monsters as they pose an impossible threat. Sound familiar? Ancient species descending upon Faerun, mind-controlling people and turning them into unrecognizable monsters as loved ones and family and friends turn on one another because of the tadpole that's inserted into their heads. Having hope at the end of Act 2, realizing that hope, just like that feeling in the very beginning of Mass Effect 3 and the end of Mass Effect 2, was just a fantasy concept. Hope seemed unreachable, ungraspable. Hope was an inconceivable idea in both of these scenarios. And even at the end, you're still able to make it through it all. At least, Baldur's Gate 3, that's only one of the options you can take. See, with Baldur's Gate 3, it's more than just following the narrative. You create the narrative. What Larian Studios have done is they've placed all of the parts there, but you put those parts together to shape whatever it is you want. And it's not just the same reaction every time. No matter the class that you play, your dialogue options will be specific to the class that you're playing that you can still choose optionally. There's even times where, depending on the race that you pick, there are some battles or some things that you just can't do simply because of who and what you are. Some things become easier, other things become harder. There are so many different ways of handling an encounter that I have replayed genuinely for the first 100 hours of me playing Baldur's Gate 3 have just been replaying Act 1 with my friends over and over and over because of how many different ways you can simply just handle the first half of Act 1. Don't even get me started on all of the secrets that I wasn't even able to fully discover even on my second or third or fourth playthrough. The amount of different endings is so satisfying. I haven't even gotten them all because there's just some of those endings I just don't even feel comfortable doing because I just have grown attached to these characters. I've grown attached to Peter. I've grown attached to Miles. I've grown attached to MJ, to all of them. But I've also grown attached to these characters as well. Their reactions, how genuine they sound, how genuine they are. Even with the villains, as you sit down and think, you'll just think to yourself, he has a point. The way that you find out how certain characters that try and help you through it all end up having a complete opposite personality after you start prodding them just enough. After realizing certain mistakes people have made that have destroyed everything, or certain things that even a bad person has done that have made things better. Whether you want to go around and become a paladin that's trying their best to stay in the path of light, but there's just something that you just can't let by, can't let go, and you're forced to break your oath because you feel as though your character just wouldn't agree. You don't have to follow your paladin tenets. Be an Oathbreaker Knight. Obtain new abilities. find the Oathbreaker Knight and reacquire your oath if you just want to be good again. Just be careful. You just might break it depending on the emotional reaction you have to some of these things. There are characters in this game where I started to really genuinely hate, and then I started loving them. And then there were characters that I was just confused by and just didn't like because I didn't understand them. But after playing through their quests and understanding them, which, by the way, I love doing in Mass Effect, all of them, doing the loyalty quests, at least that was a system that was introduced mostly in 2 and 3. I love it. Exploring deeper into what it is that Garrus has deep down that troubles him, or seeing that he supports both Renegade and Paragon Shepard, but you can tell when it comes to Renegade Shepard, he's just a little bit regretful. And then he becomes colder, more distant. He becomes more akin to the killing machine that Shepard becomes. And that's how it is with some of these characters. Some of these characters grow cold and change depending on exactly how it is you decide to handle situations. And there are just some characters that will just straight up leave you if they don't align with what you are or who you are. What I'm trying to say is the level of details that's in Baldur's Gate 3, the characters that's in Baldur's Gate 3, the fact that Larian Studios put all of this effort, all of this time without even worrying about things like monetization or things that are going for like trying to figure out how many DLCs they can pump out. They've given us a complete game. The amount of content they've also been adding on for free because the community's simply been asking for it. Having one of the YouTubers for Baldur's Gate literally email Larian Studios complaining that they can't play fetch with Scratch in the camp with Karlach's decapitated head, which by the way is one of your companions that you can not only unlock an ending with, but romance with, but also is just a follower in general and a playable main character that you can just pick. That Scratch can't pick up Karlach's head after you throw it and bring it back to you. And they added it to the game. This game is probably one of my most favorite games. I think I like this game maybe even more than Mass Effect 2. I don't know. The romance options, the story, the dialogue, the way you can handle things. The way you can have battles last extremely long as you try and think of ways to make things go perfectly. Or the way you can make battles go as fast as possible by starting off with a sneak attack and then throwing out all of your most powerful spells and abilities, hit yourself up with a short rest, and you're on your way to the next battle. You can go scorched earth if you want. Completely and utterly scorched earth and kill every NPC you come across, every enemy you come across, even your own allies.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Or you can try your best to save them all. And what I like about it is you can't save them all. No matter how good you are, no matter how hard you try, there are certain things that you just won't be able to do because, well, it would be impossible. It's easy to kill everyone, but it's hard to save everyone. You can end lives. Lives can end. Dying is easy, but living and trying to get others to live, that's the hard part. And that can reflect real good in Baldur's Gate 3. But aside from all of that, this is why I think Baldur's Gate 3 really, honestly, deserved Game of the Year. I was just waiting for it, to be honest. I was sitting there, I was waiting for it, and it happened. And let me repeat, I don't think every single Spider-Man fan is against the decision that happened. There's a lot of Spider-Man fans out there that agree. But come on, show some respect where respect is due. Don't go out of your way and completely and utterly just shit on a game just because you simply don't agree with its decision. You know it's good. You've got your opinions. But please, don't hate for no reason. Let's be completely real here. Anyway, that's about it for me. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to talk about. It is no short of amazing. It's almost perfect. To me, Baldur's Gate 3 is perfect. And I'm sure to a lot of you, Spider-Man 2 is perfect. But putting my opinions and your opinions aside, objectively speaking, Spider-Man 2 didn't deserve it. BG3 did more. Anyway, that's about it for me. There's probably going to be a lot of people that's going to disagree if this video for some reason somehow blows up because the algorithm sees Game of the Year stuff and Spider-Man 2 stuff and Baldur's Gate 3 stuff on this channel for like the first time. But I just want to let you guys know that regardless of what you say, what's happened has happened. And you can enjoy what you enjoy. I'll enjoy what I enjoy. The only thing I ask is just shut down the toxicity, man. There's no need.